Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry I didn't see the admit all button before. I'm not sure if you thought that Dr. Wilcoxson and I were being rude and ignoring you. We are very grateful for you joining us, and want to introduce Dr. Ajene Wilcoxson, who will lead the session. Take it away, Doctor.
Awesome. Nice talking to you, Teresita. Very nice talking to you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm looking at my clock. It's 11 o'clock here, so that makes it 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock there, afternoon. I was telling Teresita how hot it is today here. I stepped outside for just a moment. It's 103 degrees. Oh my goodness. It's scorching. So I'm really honored to be here with you all. And today we're gonna explore emotional intelligence as an introduction. I have to tell you, there's so much I'd like to share with you in this hour that we have, about 50 minutes that we have, but I've put more content in our Google Doc. That way you can go back and explore it on your own and go a little deeper. So I'm gonna share my screen and I'm going to share my doc with you. And I'm going to put this in the chat box. That way, you and I can interact with each other and you can participate with me. All right, so the first activity I like to do is I'd like you to click on this link that I'm putting in the chat box. And I'd like you to write for me 3 powerful emotions that you feel people around you are experiencing. 3 powerful emotions that people around you are experiencing. And as you do that, I guess I should introduce myself. So my name is Don Ajene Wilcoxson. I go by my middle name, which is Ajene. I live in Riverside, California. I am a professor of business and entrepreneurship at Riverside City College. I have a doctorate in theology and an MBA in entrepreneurship. But my passion is emotional intelligence. I've been studying it probably for the last 12 years. And the last 2 years, I've begun to feel that I have acquired the knowledge to begin to share what I've experienced and what I've learned with others. And I'm just really grateful that your institution has invited me here to share this with you. So let's go ahead and look and see what some of you put in. Anxiety, excitement, nervousness. Good. Those are good. Stress. Yeah. Thinking of people around you, what are the 3 most powerful emotions they are experiencing? Eager. Anxiety seems to be the biggest one so far. Love. I like that. Anticipation. That's wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to use this. Wow, a few more. Okay, thank you. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate that. So I'm going to just select one of those words. And we're going to go to what is called the Plutchik wheel. So I'm going to use one of those words, and we're going to explore one of my favorite tools that I use as part of my EQ toolbox. This is called the Plutchik wheel of emotion. I really like this because it talks about what our core emotions are. So if you look at this, each of these leaves, this level of the leaf represents the core emotions. So we have sadness, disgust, anger, anticipation, joy, trust, fear, and surprise. These are the core emotions based on this theorist perspective, which I really like. It's not inclusive of all the emotions that we have, but he kind of puts the general emotions together and came up with this diagram. So what I like about it is the leaf itself represents the depth of the emotion or the intensity of the emotion. So for joy, at its highest level, which is here, is ecstasy. For fear, at its highest level, which is here, is terror. I'm going to go back to our words, and I'm going to pick one. Let's say sadness. Sadness is here. So if I was feeling less sad, I go down, which is pensiveness. If my sadness increases, it goes to grief. Now, I put a link here that you can click on, and it'll take you to our interactive Plutchik wheel, which I really like. So look at this. Let's stick with sadness. If I click on sadness, I get similar words to sadness. I'm feeling bummed. I'm feeling lost. The sensation I'm getting typically with sadness is being feelings of heaviness. This is what I really like though. What is sadness telling me? Sadness is telling me love is going away. So listen, I want to share something with you that you may not be familiar with, and that is emotions are data. I'm pausing on purpose. Emotions are data. So when we have data, I think of numbers, right? So we take these numbers and they tell us something about the situation. We use numbers for everything, right? Quantitative data analysis to determine the growth of populations and other things like that. So when we think of emotions as data, it's telling us the same thing. What is that emotion that we're experiencing? What clues is it giving us about how we're experiencing that situation? And when we're feeling sadness, we get love is going away. But what I really like is how can sadness help us, right? How can it help us? That's the approach that we need to take a look at from every perspective as it relates to our life. Personal, professional, academia, everything. Instead of looking at it from the negative side, let's flip it and see how this experience can help us. So in sadness, it's a focus on what's happening to us. How can sadness help us? It helps us focus, if we choose to look at it this way, what's important to us. And here we can change the intensity of it. So sadness goes to grief, and it redescribes what that is. And then we have videos that you can watch that can help clarify this. I love this tool, and I'm going to highly recommend that you spend some time here because it can give you a lot of insight into what you're feeling and give you that assistance on how this feeling, how this emotion can help you. And one of the things I really like about this is this level of belief. I like to go to the right. If we look to the right, we see love. So joy and trust give us love. Wow. Look at this. Trust and fear gives us submission. Wow. Fear and surprise, awe. So please spend some time here because I think you'll be able to grow in your understanding of your emotions and the interconnectedness to the other feelings that we encounter every single day. Any questions? You could put your questions in the chat box if you have questions. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So yesterday, when I was doing this presentation, we thought of this question, and I want to ask you all if you're willing to help me. If feelings have value, because we know feelings are data, if feelings have value, then what are they saying to you and I? What are they saying to you and I? If you would not mind typing your thoughts into our Google Doc, one thought per line, and if not, it's okay, as long as you're thinking about it. If feelings have value, then what are they saying to us? Oh, no way. So I was just thinking that, and you wrote it, pay attention. That's crazy. I was just thinking that, pay attention, and you typed it. Wow. Anyone else? Yeah, take care of yourself. Good. Thank you. I second this. Ooh, Mercedes, I'm going to type that into our box. Whoop. Yes, I'll put the link back in the chat box. There you go. Thank you, Marianne. You beat me to it. Thank you. Ooh, an alarm. Slow down and breathe. That's really good. How many situations in our life would take a different course if we just stopped and took a breath? Let go of old resentments. Whew, alarm, I love it. Feelings may be saying that trauma needs healing, that we are human. Yes, we are. That's real. I'm reading a book called Black Elk Speaks, and he talks a lot about being human in ways that I have not read about before. Oh, this is good. This is real good. Thank you. Different feelings tell us different things. Yeah, that's good. All these are wonderful. Thank you. That's another reason I want you to really spend some time on our emotional wheel, just because of the depth of understanding that it can give us as it relates to these feelings that we have. Thank you, everyone. This is really wonderful. I appreciate you participating in this with me. Let's keep going. So today, the foundation of emotional intelligence from the perspective that I teach it is know, choose, and give. And doing so helps us in our ability to recognize our thinking patterns, understanding emotions as data, as I said a few moments ago, increasing empathy, and then developing intrinsic motivation. So these are the pillars of EQ, and our success, both personally, academically, and professionally, are directly linked to it, in my opinion. This is the overall essence of emotional intelligence: know, choose, give. And then we have these competencies that you see in the colors. So under know yourself, we have enhanced emotional literacy, recognize patterns. Under choose yourself, consequential thinking, navigate emotions, intrinsic motivation, and optimism, And then give yourself, increase empathy, and pursue noble goals. I can't talk about all these because we just don't have time. So to me, I think something that's very important that I'd like you to become aware of and practice is recognizing patterns. And that starts with TFA, think, feel, and act. You have to rethink about the situation What are the feelings and situations telling you? And then take action. And all this is balanced. I put a video here that I'd like for you to watch later. And as you're watching it, I want you to think about how this person was thinking, how this person may have been feeling, and how this person's actions were before and after they had that light bulb experience. I'm not going to show that to you now, but I wanted you to watch it. I want to give you this tool. So after the session's over, please spend some time and watch it. TFA. So let's go into choose yourself. Because I was talking to a colleague on your campus, and it just moved me, because what's happening on your campus is also happening on my campus, and that's, we need to engage intrinsic motivation, that internal motivation that keeps us moving forward. So how we define that is, when we engage intrinsic motivation, it helps increase energy that we get from our personal values and commitments versus what? Being driven by external forces. So I really love the iceberg, because all of us know that there's more of the iceberg that's under water. So looking at this, you can see that from an intrinsic and extrinsic perspective, intrinsic motivation is much larger, is much more profound, moves us in new directions as opposed to extrinsic rewards. You all know this. When we talk about intrinsic, we're talking about acknowledgement, belonging, and that sense of purpose, right? As opposed to external, which is money and status and praise. Now, I say we need both, right? But we can't control the external, but we can absolutely control the internal. And that's part of this intrinsic motivation that I'm talking about. So where does that come from? It comes from our values. I like to ask my friends at times, what is it that you value? What are your core values? That's something we should think about often. What are our core values? Are these core values what we use to connect with others? And then lastly, are we living our purpose? Do we have a noble goal? Is it based on our values? Is this what we use to connect with others? Are we living our purpose, our noble goal? So another tool I want to give you is the well-balanced scale. It has a tendency of not coming up all the time. So let's see if it comes up, fingers crossed. So these are things that we ponder in our minds. I personally like to journal, because when I write it out, it becomes real to me, much more real than just having it in my head. And then I'm able to analyze it, diagnose it, and make change. So one of the things that this does, which I really like, is it allows us to drag into these boxes what drains us and what supports us. So lack of sleep drains me. Social media has a tendency of draining me. But when I eat healthy, it supports me. When I'm able to take walks, it supports me. When I'm talking with good friends, it supports me. When I make time to do the things I need to, it supports me. So you can see the scale goes one way or the other. And that's our life on a daily basis, based on the things that are happening around us and the decisions that we make, that scale tends to go one way or the other. So how can we maintain a sense of control by keeping it balanced or leaning toward that side of support? A lot of this intrinsic motivation is also based on self-trust. So when I say self-trust for me, do you trust those feelings that you have on the inside when you're entering into situations? I do. I tend to trust what I feel inside, or they call it your gut feelings, more than I do external things. And when I listen to that, it tends to keep me balanced and keep me on the supportive side of things that are happening in my life. That's that self-trust. Trust is a huge word, though. That's a whole nother session. I like to talk about trust from two perspectives: trustworthiness and trust willingness. So this is another tool, though, that I just wanted to share with you that I'd like for you to try and use. Also, I'm reading. Do you find that people compensate or settle when the extrinsic is not met? Does it become unhealthy, toxic if there is no balance? So anytime there's imbalance, it can manifest in many, many ways. From you just not feeling good, from your body not responding in ways that it should. Even if this isn't even recognized at a conscious level, I think our bodies are meant to be in balance. And when they do, they function at a higher level. Emotional intelligence can help with that. It's just a tool that we can use, that we can practice, that's measurable, that can help us overcome these challenges. And one is relying on extrinsic motivation. Because we realize, as in that chart I just showed you, the real depth of who we are is below the surface, and it's based on how we're experiencing our intrinsic rewards that we acknowledge in ourselves. Me too, I trust self, gut feelings, but not have the words to express clearly how I feel. Yeah, you know what, Mercedes, I don't always have the words too. A lot of time, I have a document that has emotions that I can share. I'll upload and make part of this that you'll have access to after we're done, and I'll share it with you. That way you can find the words of how you're feeling. That helps me. I want to be able to articulate to myself, not necessarily to other people, how I'm really feeling. There's a study, I forgot the name, that shows the results of high EQ when children are cuddled as newborns. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. All right, so I want to show you a video real quick because it deals with grit, and grit is so important for ourselves and for everyone around us. So I'm going to show you this quick video, but as we're watching it, I need you to think about just a few things, if you don't mind. What was Brock's state of mind in the beginning when he was talking to his coach? What was Brock's state of mind when he was carrying Jeremy on his back? How did the coach influence Brock's state of mind? Brock's coach was a cheerleader. We all need cheerleaders. How or what might have happened if the coach did not show he cared, and how would the outcome have been different? So let's watch this together. So, sorry, I'm going to pause this so we can talk about it a little bit. So already we know Brock's state of mind is negative. They don't have a chance of winning, which tends to affect the whole body when we have that type of mentality. So he wanted Jeremy to hear himself say that. Sometimes you and I have to say things out loud when no one's in the room so that we hear ourselves say it. We hear ourselves say that we're going to accomplish this task. We hear ourselves saying that we can handle the situation that we're in. Oh, I love that. So you can unmute yourselves and just share with me what you're thinking. And I did pose a question because someone said it even changed the attitude of his classmates. What were his teammates experiencing? Anyone?
I guess they felt inspired by his strength.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Anyone else?
Or they were mocking him in the beginning, and then they were like put in their place.
Ooh,
kind of.
Yeah, and that put in place inspired them, I think, to realize that they could do it too.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't just to put in their place to put them down, if not to lift them up.
Yes, that inspired them. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Emily. You're absolutely right. Some of the words that jumped out at me while we were watching that is Brock was saying, it's hard. It's too hard. It's heavy. I can't do that. It hurts. I'm going to tell you, let's just be real with each other. I have those thoughts occasionally in my mind. I do, right? And then when they start happening, I have to switch gears. And as the coach said, it's all from the heart right now. It's all from the heart, he told Brock. Give me more. Give me your best. Don't quit. Keep going. Don't quit on me. You can do this. Wow. Yes, Mercedes, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi,
hey.
And I'm not naked. I have a So I was kind of almost having a different feeling when he was yelling at the guy, right? Because I was thinking, he was saying, I'm feeling this. And the coach was like, no, you're not. And I felt like he had to already want to do it too. Because if he didn't want to already do it, he could have just said, I'm going to be stubborn. And every time you tell me I'm not feeling something, I'm going to prove to you that I'm failing, right? I'm going to get extremely dramatic about it. So inside, he already wanted it. And I think that's sometimes our strength, when we know we want it already and we are hearing that encouraging words of you can do it, you can do it. If he didn't want it, those words would not have had any effect on him.
You're right. I kind of like that, Mercedes. Thank you. It really helps when we see our potential, because then the encouragement pushes us forward. You know, I had an experience with a student a few years ago, and I knew he had it in him, but he didn't. And so after class, we would talk, and I became his coach and pushed him and motivated him. And I recall my colleagues, some of the other teachers would say, I don't know what happened with you and this student, but he is so motivated for success right now. And I thought to myself, yeah, because I allowed his potential to show. I really think most people want to reach and become all they can be. But some of them aren't strong enough to push forward. And that's why they need individuals like you and I to help. Sometimes I need individuals to help me based on what's going on. Yeah, I agree, Maria. Yeah, he took him believing. Yes, believing is the key word. Both believing together that it could happen. I love it. So talking with one of my colleagues on your campus, she posed a question to me. She said, why do you think in those moments, our state of mind is true or it's a reality? And sometimes we believe it, that we cannot do it, that it completely stops us in our place. Any thoughts on that?
I may have, I think if my experience is failing, right? And I just continue to fail, I will lose the confidence. And I mean, it made me think of a time when I was teaching students who were in a foundational class. And I was told by the principal I was really supposed to just babysit them because they were unteachable. And I went into that class and I said to them, I said, I don't want anybody high-fiving him anymore. He said that you're unteachable. And I believe that everybody can learn if you want to do this. I gave them an assignment and I graded the assignment and they earned A's because they did what they were supposed to do. Now they did it in different levels, but everybody did what they were supposed to do. And so they all earned A's. And so as they were leaving the classroom, I heard one young lady say, I think I'm going to like this class. This is the first A I ever received, right? She had never, ever received an A before. And then, she was motivated throughout the remainder of the semester. All of the students in that class, their grade levels moved up to 3 grade levels, minimum 3 grade levels. They were reading at 4th grade in the beginning. They were all at maybe 7th and 8th grade by the time that 1 year I worked with them. And it was just because they earned A's, because they did the work. And I'm like, oh, awesome work. All right, this is where, give them feedback, how they can improve, but it was always awesome work. And so she never saw herself winning or being able to be intelligent because she was told that so many years by people in positions of authority. And so, yeah, I think that's what happens.
Yeah. And the students start to believe it, right? We start to believe it if we hear it enough. So that's why you're right. That's how these state of minds become true. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Mercedes. I'm going to share that with others. That's a great story. Thank you. So in talking with my colleague, she also said, aren't these thoughts just scenarios in our minds? And I thought, wow, that's interesting. Aren't these thoughts just scenarios in our minds? What a way to look at it. So it's not a reality. It's just a scenario. So let's take that scenario and let's flip it. So if we're going to have a negative scenario, let's also have a positive scenario. And then we can think through those. You and I can do that, and we can help others around us to do that, to think of both scenarios and then to process that so they can realize the potential of taking the more positive one. So this was the last question we talked about with my colleague on your campus. And I thought about this as it relates to my campus. Why are we all here? Why are our students here? Why are faculty there or here? Why are classified here? Why are managers here? So we're here, I assume, because it is part of our purpose, part of our noble goal of who we are and how we can make a difference in the lives of others. But I'm really talking about myself. Each of us has to answer that question individually. Part of that deals with this term that has become very popular right now, which is called grit or gritty. Let me highlight this for you. Unhighlight this. So what does it mean to be gritty? My understanding is it's an optimistic mindset. And in this optimism, we use it to navigate our emotions and to view our failures as opportunities to improve. That's a whole state of mind, isn't it? State of mind. Isn't that a song? I think it is. So we need to change this mindset, as I mentioned earlier, because they're just scenarios, and look at the situation, look at what we're going through, look at what we're doing, what we're feeling, and then view anything that's challenging as an opportunity. So if you don't mind, I'm putting in the chat box my graph again. I'd like you to write for me, if you choose to have the mindset of being gritty, how can it benefit you personally, professionally, on campus, in your community? This is a challenging one, to be honest with you. And I actually don't expect many of you to be able to come up with a response right away. But later on, I want you to come back and answer this for me, okay? Let's keep going. The two things that I really like to spend these last few minutes with you discussing is increasing our empathy and then pursuing our noble goals. Brene Brown wrote a book on empathy, and I found a video that I'd like to share with you so that we can discuss. Sorry,
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection.
Wow, that's pretty good, actually.
Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you can climb down. I know what it's like down here. And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. Yeah. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
I'm sorry, I got it. So she showed us what empathy means, and that illustration of the bear genuinely listening to the fox had a huge impact on the fox, even though the bear didn't have words to express at that moment. I think it's our responsibility to be empathetic to those around us, our colleagues, our students, our managers, our administrators, our professional classified, everyone. And being empathetic takes risks. Mercedes, go for it.
Sorry, I hope I'm not speaking too much. So is there a chance that somebody can be overloaded with empathy, right? Because if they're empaths and all day long, they're expressing empathy to everyone else, and no one else is being in a place that they can have empathy for them because they're in crisis. I can imagine that that person would be burnt out at some point. So do you have any, I guess, recommendations, or will that come up later on in this conversation, where a person can have empathy, but also set boundaries for protection?
Wow, that's a great question, because I'm an empath, and at times it's overwhelming for me, but I've gotten to a point where I can feel that coming on, and I have to go away and re-energize and recharge. That's a great topic, and it's actually part of something I'm putting together now that deals with that trust issue. Because a lot of times too, if you're being too empathetic to too many people, others won't accept it because they don't trust you. So there has to be some balance there as well. That's a great question. I'm actually gonna remember it. Thank you. Thanks. Great question, Mercedes. Okay, so we have some rules. We have the golden rule, which is treat others as you want to be treated. We have the platinum rule, which is treat others how they want to be treated. And then we have the ultimate rule, which is the palladium rule, which is we need to ask what others need. I think this is really the ultimate form of empathy. And part of that could just be silence with the person. So I wanted to go deeper with you with this exercise, but let me just see how many participants we have. Oh, there's a lot of you. So what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, let's just take 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm going to break you into pairs. I'm going to put this in the chat box now so you can see the instructions. And I want one person to be the speaker, the other person to be the listener. I want the speaker to tell the other an uncomfortable, unfair, or unjust situation in which they were involved, and the other person is just a listener. I just want you to listen and demonstrate empathy. In this process, I'm going to put the ground rules here up. Here are some helpful words to use, sentences to use that may help you in this listening process. So we're going to take just a few minutes. I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, that's interesting. I just lost the ability to put you into teams.
Perhaps a co-host. Is there a co-host in the room?
Yeah, I think I can help with that. I am going to see where the breakout rooms and assign automatically, but so how many breakout rooms do I need to create? We're saying
6.
6. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm creating them now. Let's see if that happens.
Thank you. And I put the instructions in the chat box, everyone. One person begins as a listener, the other the speaker.
Hello, Arelis, are you here? Okay, I'm not sure if you are. I'm not sure if this is working or not. If you can unmute yourself, that would be great. Hi, Tyra.
I was in a room alone Terry, do you think you can pop me into someone else's room?
Well, I'm here alone because Arelis is here, but I don't hear anyone. It says Arelis Davila, but just
Okay.
they're not unmuting themselves. I'm hoping the other rooms are working.
Yeah, I'm sure because I mean this is the main room, so it seems that Arelis
I
doesn't.
chose not to. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I see. No, that's fine. And I guess I'm in the main room because I'm the one who created. So, and I don't know how to get you into another room. Like, let me see. I'm clicking on the 3 buttons by you, and let me see if I could put, it says mute, ask to start video, chat, pin, hide, make host, make co-host, rename. Can I make you co-host and see if that lets you choose what room?
You can try if you at the bottom, if you click breakout rooms, I wonder if you can see and like kind of drag and drop people.
Okay.
See if that will work.
Where? Okay, I just made you co-host. Let's
Okay.
see if you can see how to do that.
Breakout
Let me see.
rooms. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm clicking on there.
Yep, I see it here. It's kind of like 2 to a room.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if I want to interrupt.
Right, but that's right. That's what I did. I made them, because we did 6 rooms, so it's 2 to a room. And then I'm just gonna leave them like another minute. It's 2:56. So
Yeah, okay.
I have to,
Right.
I can see, do you see that box where it says close all rooms? I can, at the bottom,
Yeah,
close all rooms.
I can see that. I see that Marianne is by herself. I'm gonna jump in and see.
Oh, okay.
There. Okay.
Go with her. And then at 2:57, should I close it? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, maybe like another 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, just because of, the timing and how much time is left. And by the way, I'm gonna have to exit. So just because I made you co-host, are you still here?
Yes. Okay. Not a problem.
Since I made you co-host, just because I have a faculty meeting now at 3. So, and this may go over, and I already told Ajene that he can go over. It's not a problem. It's not like we need to end it. It's just I have to leave to go into my other meeting, but you can take over as co-host since I made you co-host.
Not a problem.
Okay, it's 2:57, so I think I'll do the close all rooms and go back.
Yeah, and I think it'll probably pop up a warning, like it'll count down.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's giving them an extra minute.
Let's unmute you.
You're muted, Ajene.
Teresita, can you bring everyone back for me, please?
Yes, so I pushed the close all, so
yes, please.
Let's see. Yep.
It's about 35 more seconds. It'll bring everyone back.
Yes.
Beautiful.
It's counting down. 30 seconds to go. Okay, everyone's coming back.
Thank you. All righty. So the purpose of that was just for us, to experience empathy from a listening perspective or a sharing perspective. And for us to do that involved a little bit of trust, even though you may not have known each other, for someone to share something that was impactful to them, and then for someone to listen involves trust. So thank you. Thank you for participating in that. I'm going to share with you one last point before we go. And it involves another video that deals with patch. But the reason why this video is important, and I'm going to put in the chat box right now a PDF form that I'd like for you to print up and work on for me over the next 4 days. It's a tool that will assist you in developing your noble goal. And the noble goal is important because it helps us to stay consistent with who we are. Hope you are hearing me. Today, meaning not literally today, but in my life right now, any committees that I may be asked to work on, I make sure they're aligned with my noble goal before I say yes. Anything that I choose to do in life is going to be aligned with my noble goal. Otherwise, I don't do it. So I'm going to challenge you to print up Creating Your Noble Goal, the PDF, and you work with someone who you trust and develop your own noble goal. And then once you develop it, if you're interested, I would love to work with you. So you can email me and I will assist you in the development of this noble goal. So we're not going to break up into groups. I know it's noon and most people have to go. So when you have time, I want you to watch this for me and then complete that noble goal. Real quick before you go, at the bottom of my page, I'm willing to go deeper into emotional intelligence with you. If you're interested, you'll take an EQ test and we'll talk about your results. If you're interested in this, please put your name and your email address at the bottom here, and I will be in touch with you. I want to thank you all for being here. It was an awesome experience. I love sharing this information, and you were so attentive and participatory. I really appreciate it. So thank you for being here, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Terrace. You too.